What is up, guys? Today we're going to be talking about how to expertly pleasure a woman. So stick around. All right. What is up, my loves? I'm Justina Victoria. I am a psychosexual expert for men and couples. If you are new here, welcome. If you are returning, welcome back. I love you. I am coming to you from Greece right now. It's so gorgeous here. I was like, I have to do video outside so that everyone can just take in the view. So today we're going to be talking about how to expertly pleasure a woman. And I love this topic because every time I bring it up, most guys are like, I'm good. I know what I'm doing. And I can assure you that you can evolve, that you can get better, you can feel more confident, and you can just like have a better experience than what you may already be experiencing. I teach women's pleasure in a very different way than most coaches. I do not give my clients tips or tricks. I think that that's very like surface-y, very trying to like change your behavior without changing the underlying dynamic. So I teach reading women's energy in bed, reading a woman's body in bed. And when you get in tune with that, you don't need any tips or tricks. Like what comes naturally is just organic. Like it's second nature. There's no thinking involved. And that's the thing is if you're thinking about what technique to use or like what trick you're going to try out on her, like you're in your head. And sex does not happen up here. It happens in the body. It's an experience. It's a meditation, right? Like this whole thing turns off. We don't think. We're very regulated when we're having sex. There's no thinking involved, right? So I don't teach my clients to be like doing certain like techniques with women because they simply don't work. Like they might get you a little bit further ahead of, maybe closer to the experience you want to have, but overall, like we want sex to be an organic unfolding of yes. We don't want it to be like, I got to do this and I'm a robot and I need to try this trick out on every woman. It's like, well, why is that fun? Want to have a new experience every time we have sex. Like that's the beauty of sex, that it's always different. It's always juicy and alive and like fun and unexpected and spontaneous. So the way that I approach teaching a woman's pleasure in bed is through like really reading and understanding uh, the way that a woman's body is responding to you. So the way you can do this is very simple. You're just noticing very subtle contraction or expansion, and that's it. And so it can be kind of hard if you're not in tune with your own body as a man, if you sort of like mindlessly jerk off, if you don't know anything about your nervous system, you're probably going to find this to be a bit harder. But if you're more in tune with yourself, if you can feel your own contraction and expansion, essentially, if you can notice it and you're aware of it, it's going to be really, really easy for you to see this um, in a woman. So when you're in a sexual experience with a woman, you're just noticing that if whatever it is that you're doing or offering or giving in that moment, is her body going like this in any even subtle way? Or is she opening, right? Is she like expanding? Is her body relaxing, surrendering, like melting more and more into the experience, into the moment? And if you notice that she's in any way rigid, then whatever it is that you're doing, you need to change it up, right? And keep changing it up. Now, what you're doing is based on what feels good for you, not on you trying to figure out what do I think she would like. Like you don't ever want to do that because that behavior is so like robotic and awkward and there's no flow to it. You don't want to be in that place when you're pleasuring. Like that's going to cause more rigidity. The more you're in your head, the more dysregulated your nervous system, the more unsafe she's going to feel and the more rigid she's going to become. So you never want to approach sex by like, hey, what should I be doing? And a lot of guys do this. They're in their head thinking like, is what I'm doing good enough? Is she liking it? Is she like, she don't want to do this again? Whatever. Is this turning her on? Is she having a good time? Like you have to, those are intrusive thoughts. You have to like move away from those And what you want to do is follow your moment to moment yes. Okay. And your moment to moment yes will come like this with her expansion. And you'll notice that. So it would be like something that just feels good to you is a turn on to you, maybe like, I don't know, like kissing her breast or sucking on her breast. And then, or like hearing her breath like in your ear or like rubbing her body in a certain way. And do that. Do the thing that feels good for you softly, slowly, subtly. You're not trying to like ram something up somebody's ass like when they haven't consented to that, right? So when I say like do what feels good for you, I don't mean like flip her over and like do all kinds of like weird kinky shit to her if she's not even like turned on and ready to go or like asking for that. What I mean is like there's a moment to moment unfolding of just what is organically pleasurable to you. And again, this is going to go back to you being like in tune with yourself. Like what feels good subtly in your body. Not like if you're just like furiously jerking off every day to porn and you're totally disconnected from your body and your mind and your narratives, like you're you're gonna have to practice. You're gonna have to get in tune with your own body. You're gonna have to slow the fuck down a little bit. And for those of you who feel like you're already in that place, this is going to be very like, boom, you're just going to move to this next thing. So, um, when reading a woman's body, you're pairing that with what feels good for you. So you're staying in your own pleasure. You're not focused on her or what's happening for her. You're staying in your own pleasure and you're doing things slowly, softly, subtly to build the energy up. Men are very like fast paced when it comes to sex, most men. So we just want to like slow that down, get in sync with her a bit, spend some time just doing things that feel good to you and drawing those things out, like expanding the time that you experience that. It's kind of like the difference between you have a piece of chocolate cake and you just like take a bite and you just like close your eyes and you're like, Mm. And you're just like really connecting with that rich chocolatey flavor. It feels so good. It's so tasty. You like feel the warmth as it like comes down your throat. You want to connect to sex in that way versus like there's a piece of chocolate cake and you're like, you know, it's like you're like practically choking on it. You don't even taste it. And all you're thinking about is like, what's next? What else can I eat next? Can I get another slice of cake? Right. Just like want to slow down. Okay. Slow down, connect to what feels good, like every little tiny detail that feels like a turn on to you in every one of your five senses. Like what smells good right now, what tastes good right now, what feels good with my hands, what feels good in my body, like isolating those things and focusing all of your attention on those, right? And then you just naturally flow from thing to thing that feels good. Now, as you're doing that, you're just lightly noticing, is she contracting or is she expanding? Is her body loosening? Are her muscles loosening? Is she becoming like more fluid? Is her body like just loosening up, melting, right? And when you touch her, is her breathing intensifying? Is she making more sounds, right? This is what you want to be noticing because if she's staying static through the whole experience, then there's something missing, right? Now, it's not always your responsibility to pleasure a woman. Women carry a lot of narratives. So if they haven't done any work, if they're disconnected from their body, nothing that you do is going to crack that for them because that's something that they have to do internally. They have to find those narratives. They have to work through those narratives. They have to reconnect to their body. They have to decondition their sexuality. So not every woman is going to be just like, oh, like putty in your hands because you're doing this technique. Like she has her own shit that she needs to work through, right? But let's say a woman is, in that place and she is a woman who really enjoys sex. She's connected to her body and she's like, she can surrender into the moment. She feels good. She feels safe with a man, right? Then all of you're doing is connecting to what feels good for you, drawing that experience out. We as women love to slow down. If you have a woman who's rushing, it means she's trying to get it over with. She's disconnected from her body. She's disconnected from the experience that is not normal and natural to us. It is a defense mechanism, right? So you want to slow everything down. It's so windy out here. You want to slow everything down and you want to naturally, organically connect to what feels good for you. You want to go into like a meditative state and just keep that rhythm alive, keep that like cycle going between you and her, like you're sharing energy, right? And then noticing that whatever it is that you're doing is either making her contract or expand. If she's contracting, right, then move to somewhere else, do something different, right? You might be like pressuring her or just noticing, like, are you trying to rush? Are you trying to force? Like, what's happening inside of you? Slow down, move to a different area of her body or let her touch you. Like, just notice, be connected to the experience and flow with it. So it like opens sex up to be like such an incredible experience when you do that. So it's really simple, right? It can be difficult, even though like some of the most simplest things are sometimes the hardest because we're so used to like the way that we do things, the way that we think about things. And like with this, if you are, like I said, if you're a man who is really disconnected from his sexuality, from his body, from his pleasure, you're going to have more of a hard time being able to like read a woman because you're not used to reading your own body. You're not used to noticing what you need. And if that's you, like I have a free course, Porn, Pleasure, and Power. You can find it at the link below. That is a complete like 4-week program on experiencing your own sexuality by yourself, like self-pleasuring in a totally different way, reconnecting to your body, weaning off of porn. Like you can still watch porn, but not to be like dependent on that, to like really wire your nervous system for more pleasure than just like the intensity of porn. Um, and if you feel like you're already there, then yeah, like tweaking these couple of things and playing with them, expanding them, like learning a little bit more about like, oh, I'm noticing like getting better at like reading your woman's body, right? Reading her energy, she contracting, and then like exploring that with curiosity instead of trying to like force an outcome or force her to like open or surrender. We explore that with curiosity, like, I wonder what happens if I do this and like doing this feels really good for me and I wonder like how that affects her. Oh, she's like contracting a little bit. Interesting. Do I need to slow down? Do I need to go softer? Do I need to like maybe move to a different area of her body? Do I need to whisper in her ear like, what do you want? What do you like? Do I need to like coach her, right? Like, do I need to like give her some affirmations? Like, play around with it's fun, like experiment, have fun. And then, at the end, you can just be like, what did you really like about that? Like, what would you love for me to do more of? What would you love for me to do less of? Right. And that's where that crossroads comes, right? That's where we have like that beautiful like crossing of your pleasure and her pleasure. It's like you're doing the things that already feel like turn on to you. And then they're going to coincide with some of the things that like make her body just melt. And that is like, that's that's the beautiful part. So yeah, I mean, like people are always wanting to like talk about sex and like that's good. Like communication is great. But I find that like when you just take a little bit of time to go slower and be curious during the act is like to me the most transformative and the most like connection that you can get. Like yeah, talk about it, but sometimes I feel like people are talking too much or like not talking at all, right? It's like a pendulum that swings back and forth, and it's just like, well, what if we just get more playful? What if we just get more curious? What if sex was just like eating the chocolate cake and I'm savoring the cake and I'm going, so this is my only slice of cake, so I'm just gonna like savor it and like just be with the sensation, the richness of it. And I'm going to draw that experience out instead of trying to like rush through it and like get to the goal, get to the orgasm, right? And by the way, one other thing like I want to add into this, even though it's not necessarily like on topic, is like there is no goal in sex. And you've probably heard other people like talk about this. It's like there is no goal. And I like to say that instead of having a goal, you're really just noticing when you feel complete, right? Because sometimes completion is orgasm. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes completion is just laying in bed naked, cuddling. Sometimes completion is like wild, crazy sex where you're, ejaculating onto the ceiling and you feel complete, or you don't feel complete after that. You want more, right? Like, so really feeling into like, do you feel complete? Every day is going to be different. Every sexual experience is going to be different. So I hope this is helpful. If you feel like you need a bit more support, I do coach men one-on-one. I'm typically maxed out, but you can send me an email at Justina at sexualmasterycenter.com. I can let you know if I have some space open. I also have my boys club, which is my year-long intensive, helping you to fully integrate into your masculine energy, your confidence, your power, your magnetism, seduction, eroticism, and romance. So it takes you from everything from integrating into your masculine energy, not being a doormat anymore, feeling like really in control of what direction you're going in life, your purpose, your power, your ability to like get your dream woman, and then all the way through having super healthy, sustainable, long-term relationships. It's everything you could ever possibly need to know in order to feel really good about yourself and attract in somebody who feels like a match for your life, and sustain that. I also have my Erect program, which is my course on curing erectile dysfunction. I have a 100% success rate in curing erectile dysfunction and sexual anxieties in my one-to-one practice. So I have made that available through my course, Erect. Again, you'll find all this stuff with the link below. And again, if you want to explore more of your own sexuality, your own body, then you can click on the link below, find my free program, Porn, Pleasure, and Power. And that's like, it's such a fun little course for you to like really connect to your body, connect to your pleasure and self-pleasure in ways that you didn't even know were possible. So I'll see you guys in the next one.